the CFCTALK podcast. Not the happiest of moods around here after a loss at Goodison Park, 1-0, courtesy of a penalty. It hurts me saying this, and I think Amart's going to laugh at me for saying it. I can't even say it was Mendy's mistake. Like, I've spent the whole of the start of the season talking about Kepa and how he should not even come close to the Chelsea goalpost, and now Mendy's just done that. So yeah, that's going to be part of the conversation. But tonight we're joined by a guest, Candice, a Chelsea fan who has recently just started doing YouTube videos, just like us. Call them short podcasts, call them explanatory videos on Chelsea. Welcome to the podcast, Candice.
Hi, glad to be here.
How are you doing, Candice?
Great. Can't wait to talk to you guys.
Yeah. Not the best of times, to talk about Chelsea, but your thoughts on the game?
I have so many different thoughts, I feel, because so yesterday I didn't watch the first half live. I actually came home in time to see the second half live, and I felt like we didn't play that good. But today I was able to
Let me
watch.
spoil the party for you. Sorry for the interruption, but
It's
let
fine.
me spoil the party for you. You didn't miss much from Chelsea's end. You didn't miss much.
Well, to be fair, I did watch the. I went back today because here in the. I don't know where you guys watch it on, but here in the States we watch it on Peacock or whatever by NBC. And I went back today and I watched the first half, and I actually thought that we weren't that bad. And this is what I'm gonna say. I just don't think that our front three got any space to do anything. I felt like Giroud was totally out of the game. Havertz, um, and Werner were kind of both out of the game. And so I think they just couldn't do anything. And I think Reece James, like I put this on Twitter today, that if Reece James had scored that free kick that that ended up being saved, and then if the post didn't save Pickford, then we would have had at least one goal as well. So I personally didn't think it was as bad, at least as people are saying it was. I just think that we really needed our wingers.
Sorry, I was muted and I was speaking. 31 podcasts in, and I still can't get it right. Amar, your thoughts? Yeah, similar thoughts to Candice, or have you got a totally different perspective?
Yeah, a little bit similar, but I think, like you said, I don't think we were totally bad yesterday. I think Everton did a very, very good job. They took advantage of the fact that we didn't have some key players in the team, and it took full advantage of it. They didn't allow our strikers to enjoy their game at all. Like, I think out of the three um, attackers that we had on the field, I think it was Werner and Havertz that were seeing a lot of the ball. Drew wasn't seeing the ball at all, and yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm not too worried about what's the name results like this, because I feel like a lot of Chelsea fans have just put in their minds that this team is going to win the league, and to be honest, I don't think we are at that level yet. Like, I think what Lampard said is accurate, because he said we are not as bad as we were last season. Definitely not as bad as last season, but we've improved, and we are not as good as we are as Liverpool or Man City can be sometimes. But I mean, we are on a track. We are on a good trajectory to be one of the best teams in England, and we will be one day. If we win the league this season, fine. But I think a lot of people got angry at our performance because they want us to be competing. They want us to be competing head to head with Tottenham and Liverpool. And these games will come. These games were always going to come. Games like this. And I'm not expecting the Wolves game to be any easier. I'm expecting the Wolves game to even be tougher than this, because we have to bounce back from a defeat. So it wasn't the results that we wanted, but I think it's a wake up call for fans especially, and I think that the players know what needs to be done, and the manager also knows what needs to be done. But I think it's a wake up call for fans to know that it's still we are still a working team. We are not a complete set yet. We are still working towards perfection.
Yeah. Um, That's a great point to make, and then it really. On my thoughts, I would say I'd date all the way back to my predictions for the start of the season, and I know I said Chelsea would win the league, but yesterday or Everton was a reality check. A lot of Chelsea fans, a lot of football fans said Chelsea have a chance of winning the Premier League, and yesterday it kind of felt like it was a shock to us, even though at the start of the season we knew it wasn't going to happen. But because we were on an 18 win streak, I think we only lost one game in the Premier League. That we were like, oh, we're 2 points off top of the table, we can win this. But yesterday was really a reality check into, look, this is this is another transition year. If we get the FA Cup, we get it, but let's not expect a lot more than that. And I think talking about the game, I would say we should have won. I think we could have won. Two times we hit the post. So many missed chances. Um, Werner, Kai Havertz, not their best performances. Um, and it almost feels like Goodison Park has become a place where we can barely survive. And yesterday we Mendy made a mistake. We gave a penalty, and then I think there was another one almost, um, another penalty that was given, but because of offside, it wasn't. So yeah, I think there's a lot of work to be done. Like Amart said, um, there's a lot of improvement needed to even challenge Liverpool, Man City, and even Tottenham. I would say at this stage, the way they played against this week, and then yeah. So I think there's a long way ahead. And Candice, in yesterday's press conference or the post match interview, Frank Lampard said, This bunch of players, they've got a lot of talent, but don't expect anything from us this season. In a way,
Hmm.
do you agree with that, or do you still see Chelsea as contenders, and this is just a hiccup on the road, and we'll be back on our feet against Wolves on Tuesday night?
So, okay, let's before I answer that, let's track back here. I think though we do have to keep in mind that we were missing. I mean, it's unfortunate for us that all three of our natural wingers are out at the same time. I think nobody expected that. I remember a couple weeks ago I was saying, we should have gotten another winger in the window, and people are like, no, 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 we're good because Werner can play on the wings. But I do feel like we need, at least in January, we need to get a backup winger. So I do think that we do have to consider, I know you're saying it's a reality check, and it was, but I do think that we do have to consider the fact that if any of our wingers were in the game, if Ziyech and Pulisic, even Ziyech and Cho, if any combination of them were in the game, that the results most likely would have been different, right? So, I mean, it's unfortunate that I think yesterday's game was a combination of the injuries, the great defending by Everton. It's still a wake up call for us. But, I don't know. I think we'll bounce back from it. Considering Lampard's statements, I'm not surprised because he has been saying that he's been very consistent with that message that he doesn't think that we're on Man City and Liverpool's level. And I always felt that he had a point because I mean, and he explained it, right? He said that Liverpool and Man City, these guys have been playing together for what, 2, 3 years. We just created this current starting 11 that we have. So, I think he's been trying to temper expectations. But, us fans were excited. Everybody's like, oh, we can win, we can win. And we might win, but I don't know if this is the season that we should be expecting that, yes, we will win. I think we're creating something that hopefully will pay off for us, at least by next season.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and this raises another question, and I think you mentioned as well, um, Timo Werner, and there's been a lot of debate on whether he plays better as a natural striker or do we play him as a winger. And I know since the Krasnodar game, the one that we played away, um, there's been this 4-3-3 formation that we've kept with, we've gone with, and Amart. Um, we haven't seen a lot of change in that formation. We sometimes do see a bit of variation in the midfield. But is it time for Lampard to go look at that formation and say, look, we have three of our wingers missing. We have Hakim Ziyech, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Christian Pulisic injured. Let's go with something narrow. Let's maybe try out a cam position. put in Kai Havertz and Mount in there. Play with two strikers, maybe have Tammy and Giroud, or Werner and Tammy or Giroud. Do you think we should look at those options?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember, but at the beginning of the season, I was of the view that probably because when we got in Werner, I think I said something like he would benefit a lot from a 4-4-2 system, because I think that's what they were playing in Leipzig last season. But I remember Frank having in an interview just after he retired, there was an interview that he did, and he spoke um, about the 4-4-2 system, and he said he didn't really like the 4-4-2 system. That was before he became a manager, and you can see clearly that when he became a manager, he hasn't really used that format. It means he doesn't like it. And yeah, we might benefit from um, changing to a 4-4-2, because now we have limited number of wingers and stuff like that. But I think at this moment it might be a really harsh change, because um, the players have been used to playing the 4-4-3, and it looks like the 4-3-3 is the way forward. The 4-3-3 has solved a lot of our issues that we had last season. It's made everybody play at their best, and I think that's the solution he's going to go for. We have players. I think yesterday Candace tweeted out saying that we had Anjorin on the bench that could come easily and play and on the wings, but so he can consider that he can use Anjorin and still continue the 4-3-3. I don't think changing the system will be the right thing to do, because if he changes and doesn't work, there will be another backlash on him and on the team, people saying that he should stick the 4-3-3. I think the 4-3-3 works, so he should just find a way to use the players that he has now to fit in the system.
That does make sense, Mark. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna disagree with you. And I know we don't do that a lot on the channel. Um, I think we could use a change in formation. I think we could try out a new system. With games coming in thick and fast, and we've got, I think, Wolves, and then we've got, is it Aston Villa? No, is it West Ham, and then Arsenal, and then Aston Villa, and then Man City, and these are all in the span of. So I'm saying this. These are 5 games in the next 2 or 2.5 weeks. We can't expect Angerin to play all of these, and then secondly, why not try something new? Candice, do you agree with Amart, or would you say we can go for a new system and try out something new?
I think so I would probably prefer the 4-3-3, to be honest with you, and I would want him to use Andrew. I think I guess just to correct you on the, if I'm correcting you, I'm not sure, but if I remember well, we have Wolves, then West Ham, then Arsenal on Boxing Day. I guess Man City and stuff comes after the new year. But the thing is, I think that, like yesterday, for example, I felt that he had Andrew in, who's a natural winger on the bench. He could have brought him in the second part of the second half and see if he could have created something. I do feel that habits stayed on a little too long. But anyway, to your initial question, I am okay with the 4-3-3. I actually like it, and I don't think he has to change it. But I would also be open to him potentially trying something different. But then, like Amat said, if he tries something different and we lose like 4-0 or 5-0, everybody's gonna go crazy asking why did he change anything?
I think yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you and Amart are wrong. I'm not saying that we shouldn't go with the 4-3-3. I just feel like let's start a game with a new formation and use Anjern if you want to get him on, or maybe um, when you start with Anjern, take him off after 60 minutes, try a new formation, because it kind of feels like Pulisic, Ziyech, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. These three have almost felt like they've not been part of the squad. To be honest with you, Pulisic has played. I think he started one game. Ziyech's had a bit more game time. Callum Hudson-Odoi has only played Champions League, so it almost feels like these three have always been out of the squad, and they're basically kind of in a way an academy players. They just pop up for a few games and then go away. But yeah, um, these are some strong balls. I feel like I'm gonna get some backlash from this, but um, Amart, one of the biggest debates when the lineups were announced was why isn't Christian Pulisic on the bench? Even though Frank Lampard confirmed that he did train, he was feeling fine, he was ready to play, and we didn't even see him on the bench. A lot of people speculated he might not start. A lot of people said they might start, but he wasn't even on the bench. And what do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised that he wasn't on the bench because Frank hinted during his press conference. He said um, um, Pulisic had a little hamstring problem, but he would be fine before the game. It looks like he wasn't fine. So, to be honest, I wasn't really surprised when I didn't see him. I saw a lot of comments of people wondering why he wasn't there. But if you listen to the press conference, I think he mentioned that he had an issue. But the thing with Pulisic is that to be honest, I'm getting worried. I'm getting a bit worried. I've been following Pulisic since he was in Dortmund, um, and he's injury prone. Like he has tendency to get injured easily. He's a very good player. We've all seen how great he is, but I'm getting worried a bit because he's one of our best players on the pitch. And what's good will he be if he's not playing regularly? He's not playing um like he's playing the normal minutes because he's now a number 10. He's playing a very crucial role in the team, and he's wearing the number 10. He's not a number 10, but he's wearing the number 10. But I mean, he's playing a crucial role in the team, and we need him on the pitch with players like Ziyech. We know Ziyech is not injury prone. We know this thing will pass. Like when Kante was injured last season, we knew that Kante would get get better and he wouldn't have injuries again because we knew he wasn't that much of an injury prone player. But with Pulisic, you never know how many games we'll get from him, how many minutes we'll get from him, and it's a bit worrying. It's a bit worrying. I don't know what injury hudson-odoi has yet. I don't know whether it's also a hamstring injury, but I think I'm going to go with what Jam said recently. We are becoming NHSFC, and we are just getting injured left and right. It's a bit worrying, but I just hope. I mean, all these things will pass, and we'll have our players fully fit and scoring goals again.
Yeah, I mean that's every Chelsea fan's hope, and then I just wish. I think Candice, was it a shock that we lost, and a lot of Chelsea fans were disappointed because have we just like are we like pretending like Chelsea can never lose now because 18 games, that's a big deal, 18 games. Even if we played, a lot of Champions League games in between that, I think that includes the Barnsley game. So we're talking 18 game streak and then suddenly a loss. So would you class it as a loss, or would you say it's a big learning and now we can go back and get another streak in 10, 15 games, hopefully even more, and still contend for the title?
Well, I mean, I think it's a loss and an opportunity to learn at the same time. Um, in terms of having another winning streak, I'm concerned. I'm concerned. I am scared about Wolves on Tuesday, to be honest with you, because I mean, unless we figure out what we're doing on the wings, we're not we haven't spoke about this yet. But to be fair, Havertz and Werner having a seem to be having adjustment issues right now. On top of the fact that we have three wingers out, so I'm a bit concerned. Um, and so I'm not 100% sure that we will go back to our winning streak. I think it could be a little bit up and down until our wingers come back. But I do think that, Frank has to figure something out. I think this Everton is an opportunity for Frank to go back to kind of the drawing board here and say, okay, what am I going to do? I don't have my wingers. Am I going to change the system? Am I going to keep the same system but bring Andrew in? How are we going to play to compensate for our deficiencies?
Yeah, that is a fair point. And um, Amart, what's your opinion on that?
Um, the I honestly don't know. I mean, like she said, I'm also very very worried about the Wolves game. I because it's going to be more difficult. I watched their game against Aston Villa yesterday, and they are a very good team. Wolves is definitely they had a rough patch in the beginning of the season, and they've lost Jimenez due to a nasty injury. Hopefully gets well soon, and yeah, and it's going to be difficult. I just hope we can do something about it. I don't want. I mean, the system changing. I'm not really sure about the system changing, but like changing personnel. I think one of our main issues yesterday was that we didn't have enough creativity in the middle. The midfielders did very very well. They did. I mean, I think they were the best part of the whole game yesterday. The defenders were also good, but the midfielders they actually ran the show a bit in the second half. But I mean, the creativity wasn't there. Havertz wasn't playing the midfield. Havertz was playing on the wing, so he wasn't really effective. And he's also recovering from um, COVID. He had a bad case of COVID. He had an interview on the the Chelsea channel, and he was saying how bad he had it and all that. He took good pictures, so we thought he was okay, but I think he really had a bad case of COVID, so he's recovering from it. And I feel like against Wolves, I would prefer to see him in the middle. I mean, he helps a lot when it comes to creativity in the middle, and he can find those little pockets of space. Yesterday, it was surprising. Kante was the main source of creativity yesterday, and it wasn't really working out. The Kovacic, we all know Kovacic won't really find those pockets of space. Mount is also a very, very hard worker, but he also isn't. He lacks a bit when it comes to creativity. He can find good passes through when he gets the space, but I mean, Havertz is unmatched when it comes to creativity. So I feel like he needs to play in the middle and then bring Anjorin in and try him out on the wings. I would like to see the same 4-3-3 system, and I hope Pulisic is fit before the Wolves game.
Yeah, I think on this one, I'm gonna have to agree with both of you. There's a lot of uncertainty, and now that we've lost to Everton, it almost feels like we've been brought back to earth. Because I think it was any game that would come ahead, and we would sit here and us three, and we would say, "Oh, that's an easy game. We're winning it. We're winning it. We're winning it." And if you look at all of our predictions, it was win, 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 win. But now, when you look at the Wolves game, which is ahead of us on Tuesday, you kind of have to sit back and think, "Oh, wait, are we going to still be able to win or not?" And the biggest factor, and when we're talking about Werner, we're talking about Kai Havertz, the wingers, and the problems in the attacking forms of Chelsea. But the mistake that caused the goal, this hurts me. I don't want to say anything to Mendy because I've already got a thing with Kepa. But Candice, that mistake. It, I mean, it's a rookie mistake, we could say, but again, is it because we think so highly of Mendy that we don't expect him to do something like this?
Well, I guess when you set the bar really high, everybody thinks that you're flawless, right? But he's not. And not only that, I want to say that I don't think the mistake was 100% him. I think if I remember when I watched it, um, that it kind of was more, I would say, like a defensive mistake. Like Thiago Silva seemed to kind of misread the ball a little bit. And I guess Mendy came running out. And then I kind of, depending on what angle you see it, I guess Calvin Lewin put his foot out, which then slowed Mendy down a little bit. And then by the time Mendy kind of slowed down and started running again, then he kind of just hit Calvin Lewin over. I'm trying to picture in my head what I saw. Um, I think it was his mistake. I think it was somewhat of Thiago Silva's mistake as well. I remember Frank actually said in after the match that he wouldn't totally blame Mendy for it, and he also did mention at the same time that yes, it was part Mendy's fault. But I mean, given that Mendy has had a good record for us, I think we could allow him to have a mistake. Yes, we hated losing the game. Yes, we hated the mistake. You could argue that maybe he needs to learn to do better with penalties and stuff like that. But he's been so good for us that I don't think we could sit here and realistically just be like, oh, he's never gonna have a mistake. So I think fans who kind of have been, I've seen some fans kind of starting to get upset and getting on him. I don't think that's fair. I think,
I think, in my opinion, before I let Amart speak, I think I'm going to agree with you. I think I'm going to say, like, this is the first mistake Mendy's made, and there's been instances where we've said, oh, this is where the clean sheet, this is where Mendy won't be able to keep a clean sheet, and he does it, and he's been so beneficial for us. I mean, you look at the Premier League record right now. I think we're the team who's conceded the least amount of goals. At the moment, and then compare it to last season, which is incredible. Which is you look at it and it's like, wow, like how do we have someone like Kepa in goal, and how did we just allow that to happen for the rest of the season? Um, it's Mendy's first mistake, and he'll probably learn from that. Knowing Mendy, he'll sit there in training and learn from it, and he'll come back stronger. And Amart, can we solely blame Mendy for this loss, or do we write it off as, oh, this is the first mistake he's done, and because we've set the bar so high that we need to lower it down a bit and say, yes, he's also human, he'll make mistakes?
Yeah, before I answer your question, I want to defend Kepa a bit. Last season's issues,
Oh, here
yes,
we go.
Kepa. Last season's issues, definitely Kepa was also a reason for it, but it wasn't just Kepa. His defense, the defenders in front of him also were pretty bad, so he didn't have any option. And then secondly, I think Alex tagged you in that scorecard stat that Mendy has conceded. He has given away how many penalties now? Two penalties, and then
Yeah,
Kepa Kepa in his entire stay at Chelsea has never given away a penalty once. So
I
one
think
point
he
to
tagged
Kepa
us
there.
on Twitter on that one.
Yes, yes. So 1 point to Kepa there. So yeah, and on your question, I'll say it looks like that. I mean, the way the game turned out, we lost by 1 goal to 0, and that goal was a penalty. So like overall, we'll say if somebody didn't watch the game overall, the person watch highlights, the person will be like, Mendy is the reason why. But I don't think Mendy is solely the reason why we lost the game. I think yesterday highlights some of his faults. I've noticed it a bit in previous games, but he often got the best out of it. I feel like he's a sweeper keeper. Like we've seen that a bit. Like he comes out a lot, and I feel like that is sometimes his downfall a bit because in the last game, the Leeds game, he was hesitating. He didn't know whether to come out or stay back. But when Bamford beat Zuma, he decided to come up and he was beaten and Bamford scored. And yesterday too, he did a similar mistake. I think he should have trusted his defenders there with that one. I mean, it was a good pass from Pickford to get to Calvert Lewin, but I think he should have stayed back rather and allowed the defenders to do their work. But him coming out, he was always going to make a mistake because Calvert Lewin was very, very smart. He saw Mendy come in and push the ball ahead, and Mendy um, clattered him instead of reaching the ball, and that was always a penalty. So yeah, he was the reason why we conceded, but I don't think it was the reason why we lost. We could have gotten the post was also part of the reason why we lost because the post saved them a bit,
It
saved them
almost
twice.
felt like when Pickford was in goal for the Everton side, it almost felt like the goal was tiny. Every time we would hit the ball, it would just hit one of the posts and it just bounce off.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those days. So Woodwork FC is back. So
I mean, I also think that I mean, I think that had Reece James's shot gone in and had I think was Mount was the other person who hit the post. I don't know if we'd have been
yeah,
talking about Mendy as much probably. I do think that that Mendy the two problems I'd give Mendy right now, the two faults would be I think he does have to learn when to stay back and when to go out because honestly, yesterday, if he had stayed back, I'm not sure Calvert Lewin was getting a good shot on goal, or even if he did, Mendy probably would have saved it. So, I
Yeah.
think that Mendy just has to learn, even in the Leeds game that you were talking about, like he really did not need to come out. I think that he is a good enough keeper that if he stayed in the goal and kind of probably just just make up his mind to be ready for the shot, try to figure out where the player is going to put it and try to save it. In those two situations, he might have saved it. So I think he needs to learn that. And I do think that they probably need to work on him with penalties. After the Tottenham game where we lost on penalties, was that the FA Cup game, I think, where we lost on penalties? No, I don't remember what game it was exactly, but I don't know if you guys remember the game where we played Tottenham
Eh,
and we lost on
The
penalties.
Carabao Cup.
Right, the Carabao
and the
Cup.
Carabao Cup.
Right. I
Yeah.
think that game and this game kind of showed us that he might struggle with defending penalties a bit. So I think they need to train him where that is concerned. Concerning the whole Kepa never giving away penalties thing, I don't know about that. Simply because no. You could look at the stats, right? But let's look at the fact that how many goals went in that should not have gone in with Kepa and goal. Like, Kepa was we
Yeah.
were
I
leaking
agree with
we
that.
were
I agree with
leaking
that.
we were leaking goals at the back. Like no matter how good our defenders were, we kept saying our defenders were bad, not necessarily because they were bad, but because we would take 3 goals, not necessarily their fault, but because of Kepa. I think even Lampard had come out at the tail end of last season, and I think there was some stats saying that we allowed the least number of shots or almost the least number of shots on goal, but whatever shots the opposing teams had on goal, they pretty much went in. So
We
it
went
ki-
in.
it,
Yeah.
it kind of tells you that our defense wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as we were saying. It was that we had a keeper who really wasn't saving anything.
I think the best way to look at it and is just compare Christensen and Rudiger from last season to this season. And Mendy made them look like they were world class defenders, you know. And Rudiger wasn't doing any errors, wasn't making any errors. I think this is where Mendy has brought in the confidence in goal where if Rudiger messes up, if Christensen messes up, they know there's a goalkeeper behind them who can save almost every shot. Um, and with Kepa, that confidence isn't there either in the defense or Kepa isn't able to portray it out there because against Krasnodar again, we still conceded a goal. So, and even though that goal, even Mendy wouldn't have been able to save it. In looking at it realistically, um, it does mean that Mendy is so crucial for us that we have to let this mistake slide in, and we have to say, okay, yes, it did cost us 3 points, but you know what? He's probably saved us more than 3 points somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. I completely agree with that. And yeah, and with the Kepa issue too, I'm saying, and I think the difference will be with Mendy. He brings that level of confidence because he actually controls the back line. Like he's the in sometimes in conjunction with Thiago Silva, he controls the back line. You can see him screaming a lot when there are set pieces. You can see him screaming a lot whenever we're on the back foot. But with Kepa, it always seemed like probably somebody else was the one controlling the back line, whether Aspi or Rudiger or sometimes even Christensen. But I think that is what Mendy brings to the plate, and I absolutely agree that yeah, even though he had a mistake, he has saved us way more points than um, what he did last, losing points yesterday. So I think yeah, we can let it slide. We can definitely let it slide.
Yeah, 100%. I think that covers up the Everton game. Just before we end this game week, I'd like to mention, and this will probably make a lot of Chelsea fans happy. Arsenal have lost their game,
Oh
and I
wow!
think they've lost against Burnley. A red card to Granit Xhaka in the 58th minute, and guess who scored the goal for Burnley?
I mean, who did it?
Aubameyang.
Aubameyang.
I mean, oh man, Ateta in. Ateta in all the way.
Do you guys know at this point? You guys know at this point, Arsenal could be in the championship next season, right?
I
Man,
doubt that's going to happen, but as long as the jokes will keep rolling in, and then if we see a few more losses, then yes, I'll start believing that as well.
and I think the longer they keep Ateta, the more is the more is likely to happen.
I don't know. My cousin, I was just laughing because my cousin on WhatsApp was just WhatsApping me because he's a big Arsenal fan, and so I was asking him if he'll continue to support once they go down to the champion to the championship. You know, he was trying to get back at me, so he's like, "What happened with you yesterday?" I was like, "Well, one hiccup, but you guys have a big issue that needs to be solved." Um.
Well, we
Mhm.
played a team who's sitting seventh, and they played a team who's fighting relegation, who was in the relegation zone,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
they have lost their last 5 games. We have only lost one in 18. So I'm not sure where they're coming from, but
Well, Arsenal fans, they're gonna try
yeah,
to get at you regardless.
I mean the fact that they said Willian was better than Ziyech was just summed up the whole season.
and I want to add this too. How lucky are we, Chelsea, especially? I think this thing happened to us last season. We lose games, but the teams around us will also lose or draw, and then we'll be safe. How lucky are we? Have we been this week? Because Tottenham drew against Fulham. I never ever expected that. I expected
You mean
Palace to
Crystal
give.
Palace? Sorry, I think you messed up
Yeah,
the
yeah,
games.
No,
yeah. Sorry,
Liverpool,
sorry.
Liverpool and Fulham.
Liverpool, Liverpool and Fulham. Yeah, that's what I never expected that because I was expecting Liverpool to take Fulham out easily. But with Tottenham and Crystal Palace, it's a derby, so I was expecting something difficult from it a bit. But how lucky are we? I mean, apart from Southampton and Leicester, I think all the teams around us, the so-called favorites, everybody dropped points apart from Leicester.
Well, as a fan, I feel like you love to see it. I think somebody was coming out on Twitter and saying, "Oh, we shouldn't even be looking at that. We shouldn't be comparing ourselves." And I'm like, "Hey, this is a competition. If you're going for the end of the race and you see that you see your opponent slow down for some reason, you're kind of like, hey, this is a competition we're fighting. But yeah, I think we're extremely lucky this weekend, the way things turned out this weekend. So lucky.
Yeah, I was expecting a big gap up there, but yeah, Chelsea at the moment we sit fifth, but that doesn't mean a lot because we are only 3 points behind Tottenham or Liverpool, and of course, we play both the teams again. Hopefully, is it after? I think it's after the New Year's. I think we play Liverpool around February, so yeah, we get a chance to get back at them. Title race is
And
still
the
on. I
and the
believe it.
and the next game Liverpool play Tottenham. So one of them is going down.
Oh, oh,
Yep.
oh, but
And
I would
Leicester is playing Everton.
I would say okay. So that's the thing. So I would say if I'm looking at next week, I'm saying if Chelsea win, Liverpool, Tottenham draw, and Leicester win, we go back second place.
Yes, yes, we do. So it's all no loss. That's why I kind of find it hilarious when people are reactionary and calling for the head of the players and the manager. I mean, it's a competition. There are so many games to play. There are so many results that can go in our favor. So we just have to relax and support the team.
Yeah, and I think I
100%.
I think that's why Lampard was like, look, we're just focused on consistency, right? Because there's a long the season the season is we haven't gotten to half the season yet, right? We're about to get there, but we haven't. And so, anything can happen in the Premier League. What? The first 7 teams are only separated by what, 6 points or something like that? I think I saw some stat. I didn't watch I'm not looking at the table right now, but I think it's between 19 and 24 points, the first 6 or 7 teams. It's very competitive, and I think we'll have
Yeah.
opportunities. I think when we look at ourselves, we just need to figure out the winger problem at this point. And, I guess Frank needs to figure out if he's going to bring in a winger in January and who he's going to bring in. I don't know. Do you guys think? I know. I'm sorry, Mohammed. I know I'm not the one asking the questions, but I just want to know:
Go, go for it.
Do you guys think that? we
It's all good. You can take the lead if you want.
do you guys think that we need a winger in January? And if we bring in somebody, who would you recommend?
I'm gonna straight up say no. Um, we don't need anyone. I think we've got enough options. I think it's unfortunate that we've got three injured at the same time. Um, it's the way I look at it is, look, this is the only season where we're gonna have so many games, and the frequency of games is much less than usual. Um, I think if we want what you know, let's try and see if we can win these games, win the next few games, and then try and fight this out. Get two or at least one of our wingers back, and I think when we have someone like Werner who can play on the wing, um, and other options, and Kai Havertz as well, who can maybe even play on the left hand side or right hand side, we can try and use him. So yeah, for me, I don't think we need a winger.
Yeah, for me, I would say no and yes because yeah, I don't know. I feel like we don't have enough, like these injuries especially have shown us that we don't have enough backup for the wing position. So at least one winger on the left to so that Wenger will Werner will go back to play as the main striker. I think that would be good.
Is Werner playing? Do you guys think Werner is playing better? Would play better if he's a striker as opposed to being on the wing? I mean, in
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, about 80% of his goals came from him playing like as a main striker last season like, against Leipzig. I think he offers more for us when he plays as a main striker. And yeah, I think he's good on the left as well, but I prefer to see him in the central role.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of debate for that, and I think it's going to be ongoing until we have everyone fit and ready, and unless Chelsea go back to winning ways. But that can only happen if we win against Wolves on Tuesday night, a very big game for Chelsea. And again, a reminder due to results from this week, that means that if Chelsea win on Tuesday, we could go top of the table again overnight, and then results the next day could mean Chelsea stay on top, stay second, or even drop down to sixth place. Again, too early to call anything. Let's head straight into the lineups. I think Amart, I know I say this every week. Goalkeeper, it's the toughest position to choose. But this week, let's actually think about it. Do we want Mendy or do we want Kepa? Do we want three goals or a mistake?
No. We want Mendy. Mendy, no doubt, Mendy.
I'll take Petacek before I take Kepa.
I think he's starting in. Okay, so if you guys are listening to this on Tuesday night, if you're listening to this on Tuesday night, then tune into Chelsea FC because you'll be able to see Czech play in the Chelsea development squad as I read right now. Um, could that mean he comes back and he starts in a Champions League game? Who knows? That's a debate for another day. Yeah, but again, Mendy in goal. I'll go with the back four of Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Thiago Silva, and Zuma. I think we should go unchanged for that. Candice, your back four.
Yeah, no, that's my back four. I wouldn't change anything.
Amart.
Yep, same. I think the back
Two
four
words.
and
Yep, same.
yeah, I think the back four and the goalkeeper, so the positions are just locked in. If they're all fit,
Well,
they'll
yeah, and
play.
Kante.
Yes, and Kante, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
and Kante.
Okay, so I think we've got Mendy, we've got Kurt Zuma, we've got Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, Reece James, N'Golo Conte. I'm guessing it would be Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, the rest two midfielders, Amar.
Yeah. Hopefully, like the thing is, I don't want to see Havertz on the wings again. I think a lot of the backlash that came from him like for him was undeserved because that's not a position that he favors the most. So I prefer to see him as a play alongside Mount, the number 8 position. So yeah, Kante, Mount, Havertz in midfield.
Candice, you're going to agree with that, or have you got different
I
tunes?
potentially have a different take on this. I'm wondering if we consider the wing situation, right? I'm wondering if instead of, Mount was playing on the wings, I guess earlier in the season, he wasn't doing too well either. But I might try Mount on the wings and then put maybe either Covan Gilmore or I'm trying to think here, or Havertz and Gilmore. I don't know. I feel like if you're considering the wing situation, right? If you put Mount and Havertz as the attacking eights, who would you put on the wing? Would you start Angerin?
And hopefully Pulisic will be better because I don't think
Yeah, that's
Pulisic's
what I was
injury.
thinking.
Yeah,
I don't know, just because I think after the game, if I remember well, I listened to Frank somewhere saying that I guess Pulisic felt more strain in his hamstring while he was training. Like initially, we were told pre-match, we were told that he felt something in his hamstring, but he's fine, he's training. And then I think after the game, I don't remember if Frank was talking to Chelsea TV or who exactly he was talking to, but he said that I guess Pulisic felt even more discomfort and he definitely couldn't start the game. So I think even if Pulisic comes on Tuesday, he's not going to start.
Hmm.
yeah.
That's an interesting call. I think. Sorry, Amart, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to ask if we have any updates on Callum. Have there
Callum
been any
Hudson-Odoi. Okay,
updates?
so that's the thing. The two things we can't do, and then I was going to mention this at the end of the episode, but I think this is a fitting time. This podcast was recorded before Frank Lampard's press conference, so we don't have any injury updates at the moment. And this podcast was recorded before the UEFA Champions League draw, so we do not know um, who we got in our draw, but we will hopefully be releasing a video. Not entirely sure for that, but you probably have seen it because this one's probably going to go out Tuesday night. Yeah, so I'm not for your to answer your question. I'm not exactly sure on the injury updates, but yeah, hopefully we'll have it tomorrow.
I think the last thing we were told was that Callum Hudson-Odoi and CH are going to be out for the next couple of weeks. So I don't think we're expecting them in the game at all.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
that's true.
and
That's
then
true.
Pulisic, like I said, I don't think he's based on the last update we got at least. We could potentially assume that he's not going to start. So that's kind of why in my head I'm trying to think creatively how we can organize our attacking eights and our wingers.
Front three, who have we got up there? I think I'm going to go with Werner, Pulisic, and Olivier Giroud. Yanis?
Okay, so I will assume that we don't have Pulisic. So if we don't have Pulisic, then I would say Werner, Giroud, and I guess Mount. I feel so sad right now about our winger situation.
That's yeah. I mean, it's a tough call. I think was it Amart? Did you say that Frank gets paid $1 million to select it? So we're just doing the predictions or something.
we are just we are just doing our predictions. He's the one who gets paid to make the selections. We are just I mean, when he talked about the front three, I don't know why my mind just went to Tommy playing as on the wings because yesterday he came on the wings and that was super weird. He didn't even get anything done properly. So I nearly said put Tommy on the wings, but so I think I'll go with Werner in the middle. I really want to see Werner in the middle, and then that's the issue. If Werner plays in the middle, then the wings are. You know what? Let's go with the same thing. I'll go with Giroud, Werner. Assuming Pulisic is fit, yeah, we'll go with Pulisic.
Yeah, great lineup. I think overall that covers up that game. Not a lot to talk about Wolves, to be honest. You know, they don't have their star striker. Jimenez injured, of course, a few weeks back. Hope he gets better soon, but they won't be an
Yeah.
easy opponent. They won't be an easy opponent at all.
Well, sorry. I mean, we spoke a little bit about the Wolves game in the in the preview that we
Yeah,
talked about. So
No, I think they're gonna sit back. and we're going to need creativity to score. And right now, we're lacking creativity. So it's going to be a tough game. And like you said, Frank is getting paid. He's going to have to figure out what we're going to do.
100%. Let's end this episode, and before we do that, Candice, your predictions for the game.
So difficult. I'm gonna give it to us 1-0.
Good prediction. I would predict, but we usually do it on a few hours before the match as a video format, so we'll leave it for that if that's okay. That's all from us tonight. Thank you, Candice, for joining us. Great to have a chat with you.
Thank you for having me.
Not the best of circumstances again. But yeah, as usual, Amart, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I also want to thank Candice. I worried her a bit in her DMs, and she agreed to come on. So
Thank you guys for having me. I enjoyed being here.
Thank you. And of course, guys, if you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure to leave a like, rating, subscribe, and comment below what you thought of our performance against Everton and what you predict the score will be like against Wolves, or your opinions on the game. Of course, make sure to add the podcast to your playlist if you're listening to it on an audio platform, meaning on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Anchor, or any of our other supported platforms. If you want more reviews and if you want to check out more articles, podcasts, videos on Chelsea and our views on Chelsea, make sure to check out the website. The link will be in the description below. And as usual, make sure to join the Discord server if you want to have a chat with any of the hosts during the matches. We are quite active on that, and I would like to thank everybody on the CFCTALK team. We've just hit 300 followers on Instagram. We're 10 followers away on Twitter, so if you're not following, make sure to follow that. And we're about to hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. So a lot of work going behind the scenes. But yeah, guys, big things coming up ahead. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and we'll see you next time.